welcome to another episode of the Not For Nothing podcast. I am your co-host, Sarah ElSayed, otherwise known as How Can I Help You? And this is my co-host, Natasha.
Hi, I'm Natasha.
Where can they follow you?
On Pussyweed or Natasha PRZ if you really want to get intimate.
I'm sorry I ruined your intro by overstepping. Today we got some fun topics for you, and I'd like to start with one I'm quite impassioned about. What are some things that it's okay? I'm gonna do this again. Drum roll, please.
Yeah, you got a little too excited there.
I did. I got carried away.
You're
I started
like those
flying.
kids where you have to do the 7 spins of the tongue thing before you speak.
No, but is that an ADHD kid thing? Because I like that.
Yeah, you should try
Okay. What are some things that it's okay to raw dog? Do you have any? Is that okay? That's number 1. Okay, number 2. Number 2. You know what?
I'm a child.
So I think that it's okay to raw. Earlier today, we're getting ready to come to the studio, and she goes, "Do you need me to pack heat protectant for your hair?" I'm like, no, that is one thing that it's okay to raw dog. I'm sure 9 out of 10 hair professionals would say otherwise, but like I'm not buying a product to protect my hair from heat when I'm knowingly applying heat to it.
I've been losing my hair a lot.
Okay.
From like bleaching it and heat tools, so now
There was a year.
I don't want to be bald.
There was a year that I was laying so much on one side that my hairdresser told me that my hair had stopped growing on that side, and the other side was just racing down, like marathoning down my body. And then this side was just like, oops. It was just like, it had stunted growth, but somehow I got back on track. That was a few years ago.
What are some things that are absolutely not okay to raw dog?
Tropicana juice that comes in a carton. The glue from that carton is somehow always suspiciously looking like mold. I don't know. It's got black dots. It looks like black mold in a New York City bathroom. So you must use a straw if you're drinking a carton of Tropicana orange juice.
I miss the era where it would come with the straw.
It should come with the straw.
And it was like a fun straw that was like extendable and shit.
Yeah, it was like almost packaged like a tampon.
Yeah, kind of.
Like, you know, the compact tampons that you have to like build out and then you can use them.
Wait, do you think Tropicana was grooming us for tampons?
I don't know. Do you guys know that I was in a Kotex commercial? Fun fact, I was in a Kotex commercial. You know why? Because I'm racially ambiguous. That's why. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did they
went
pay
to a
you well?
pop-up. They didn't.
What?
There was no payment. I want my money. I want my money. Do you know how vulnerable it is to be in a commercial about your period and to only get paid by a box of tampons?
You got one box?
I got one box of tampons and I had to physically carry it home. I didn't get like, it's not like they sent me a PR package. This was in the era where people were going to pop-ups for their Instagram photos.
Ugh, I remember that.
And I went to a period pop-up.
You could throw a pop-up and invite like, because I used to do
like
influencer marketing.
Influencers.
Yeah,
Yep.
I used to do this for like food media. And you would just have like a list of influencers. We had this like database. You like send them the hashtag. You like show up, have this food, get all the gifts, and take your pictures.
Feed.
We're like tracking all that, tracking all their analytics, and that was it. Now it's all about organic content, individual experiential moments, like more. I mean, it's not a critique. I absolutely love the direction we're going into.
It was a different time.
It was just a different era.
It was a different time. And so I willingly went to this period pop-up. I went with my friend Lady. Lady's Dominican. I'm a little bit racially ambiguous. She's racially ambiguous. We were destined to make it to the commercial. So there was a little booth, like a confessional that they had. And they're like, talk about your period for the chance to be featured on our social media. And you'll walk away with a box of tampons. So me and Lady, we get into the booth. We're side by side. And we're leaving our cool girl PR media jobs. And we're doing extracurriculars that are still media adjacent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're around the cool girlies. We're in Soho. And we get on camera and I sit down and confidently on the camera I say, my period is natural. Cut.
That was your contribution?
That was my contribution. And then on the YouTube, my sister-in-law is on YouTube. She hits me up and goes, did I just see your face in this advertisement for Kotex before my YouTube video began? And that's how I found out that I was in a Kotex commercial.
That's impressive.
So I'm going to go ahead and put things into the category of things that are not okay to raw dog. And I'm going to say media appearances. I don't think that those should be raw dogged. I think that you should be prepped.
You know what's not okay to raw dog?
What?
Leggings.
Raw dog them like... I think thongs count as raw dogging leggings.
No, there's fabric.
There's hardly fabric.
There's fabric covering the most important parts.
It's a loincloth. I think you're raw dogging leggings if you're wearing a thong. I don't think it's okay to raw dog pants unless you're in your house.
That's like, honestly, I have a friend who like never wears underwear with her jeans. And that just like really freaks me out.
You're foul. If you don't wear underwear with jeans, you have a problem.
I once didn't wear underwear with a skirt/dress, you know, because like, you know, fun, flirty Natasha back in the day.
You were in your Paris Hilton era?
Yeah, but like some clothing like just like couldn't take a little too tight.
You couldn't take a panty line.
No, it was like
even the panty line of a thong.
There was no space for underwear.
She couldn't spare a square.
Yeah, no space. And yeah, I took the subway and I never did it again.
You got a yeast infection just from sitting down.
Just
terrible.
Thinking about that time.
Literally.
But no, it really made me rethink.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think going commando is a thing that should be allowed in an urban city. That's like more for like fields and pastures. Yeah, or roll that. Okay, yeah, so some things, yeah, I think like you might have like a masturbation problem as well if you raw dog jeans. Everybody knows that if you're a woman wearing jeans, there's a piece on the jean.
Yeah, there's like a little tug.
There's a sweet spot on the jeans seam that is suspicious. So if you're not wearing underwear, I think that you might have like a sex and love addiction. All right. So speaking of sex and love addictions, what point of dating do you think it's appropriate to ask for a guy's birth time?
I tend to make people very uncomfortable with who I am as a human. So I would say like first date.
I'm okay with the first date.
Like
I think that's something you could be very forward about.
I would rather not see your Instagram, but know your birth chart.
I want to see their both.
Okay, but both was not the option.
Yeah,
obviously
but like,
both would be the most ideal.
Both is going to happen
if I were only allowed to see one,
you'd rather see birth chart.
I would rather see birth chart because you're the same way. Like as a professional, like it's so easy to project a different persona online, and like I've done it. Like I used to run pages that people thought were like dudes behind it. And I'm like,
yeah, that's true.
It's actually like a girl making all these memes.
Yeah, that's very true.
And it's just easy to be a person and a character, but a birth chart, I can see through you.
Yeah, you know things about them that they don't realize
that they know about
is
themselves
out there to know about themselves.
And it helps me realize also, like, this is maybe the version of you now that you want to be because you're young or whatever, and like the opportunities, like we've all gone through our like hypebeast douche phase.
Yeah, we did.
You know, I'm like currently in one as well, but I know that based on some of these characteristics, maybe that's not who you truly are as a person, and you haven't like had the opportunity to grow into that yet. And yes, I have a what do you call it? Like I tend to start fixing people.
Oh yeah. My old friend, my old traumatic friend. Yeah, no, I think first date is appropriate. There also is a level where you know if you're dating a guy in Bushwick, he already knows what time he was born. You could just ask him what time he was born and it doesn't involve a third party. He's like 11:05. Like they know when they were born because they're ran through, frankly. But
yeah, wait, that's what I was gonna say. A guy who knows his birth chart has clearly like dated or has been in a relationship with another woman.
With another witch.
And like all I have to say is a guy who's been in a relationship is better at sex.
Oh.
Because he's had it consistently and hopefully has had communicative type of sex. Like guys who are just having one night stands are never getting feedback.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Guys who have to like fight to keep their relationship alive.
I guess so, but I also feel like when you're in a relationship, it could kind of get vanilla.
Only if you let it.
I guess that's true. That's true. I guess. You have time to perfect your craft.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Like maybe it dies down after a few years, but there's been at least like 1 or 2 years of like very consistent fuckage.
Cool. Yeah, that's interesting. That's a good true take. So yeah, I would say like there's a difference between a guy who knows his birth time versus a guy that has to ask his mom what time he was born.
Oh, and if you're texting your mom on the first date, then it's over.
What? I don't mind. I love a mama's boy. I love a guy. I want a guy to have a relationship with his family like I have with mine.
I do too, but I think that
like, and that means texting all day long.
I text my family all day long, but like it's a very sacred type of communication. Like not anybody can be like introduced into the group chat.
Nobody can be introduced into the group chat. That's what I'm saying.
Like I don't want to be spoken about with your conversation with your mother.
I don't mind as long as I'm not in the group chat.
No,
I would like to be discussed in your family group chat positively.
I don't want to be discussed. I want to be seen but not perceived.
I don't mind being perceived as long as I can control the narrative. And I'm a publicist, so my standards aren't low for that. You better be XOXO sealed with a kiss whenever you're texting about me. Anyway, yeah, so I think if a guy has to text his mom to find out his birth time, that has to be like third date, maybe fourth.
Yeah, or like come prepared. Like in between the first and the second date, do your research and text your mom on your own time.
Ooh, interesting. I like that take. All right, so speaking of when it's appropriate to do things during dates, I think I should tell this story.
Go for it.
We were texting about this as it was happening in real time, and this wasn't recent, but I did have... When is it appropriate to go with your date to the hospital? If you're with somebody on the first date and something happened during your date that needed to involve emergency medical services, would you stick around or would you dip?
Depends how hot they are. Like... If the date's like
douchebag. She just like put on her mega Chad voice. She's like, depends how hot they are.
I mean, if like the date's going well and I like you and stuff, I would obviously like stick around. If it's like awkward, I would probably like stay until I'm at a point where I can use your phone to contact a friend. Like I would never leave you alone.
What if they were in safekeeping at the hospital already? Would you dip?
Yeah. Oh, wait.
They've been admitted.
But there's
no
nobody
one
there.
else knows, and you're the only one who's there.
I wouldn't dip. I would just push for there to be a handover sooner between somebody else.
Yeah. I guess it depends on what happened.
Yeah.
Right?
And so what exactly happened on your date?
I was on like maybe a third date with this guy.
Okay.
He was at my house. We were chilling, and an ambulance had to be called. And that obviously is not a good look for me personally, to have emergency medical services called to my home. But he did have a seizure at my house. 2 seizures, back to back. It was the first time I had been around a seizure before, so I also wasn't sure what to do, which I guess this is a good education for those who are listening who aren't sure what to do in the case of a seizure. There's not much you can do. I would say just make sure that their head is not touching us. And I'm not a medical professional, but this is just what I've learned from my experience and what I've been told. Make sure that they're not against a hard surface. So like if you see them about to fall, try to catch them or interject or intervene.
And like no sharp corners.
No sharp corners, no vertexes at all. Just make sure their head is safe, especially. You know, make sure that they can breathe, that they're not like, you know, phlegm or vomit is coming up or something, that they're not going to choke on it. So like you can sit them up if that's the case. And just, try to count the seizure or like start a timer or something so that you know how long it lasts if emergency medical services asks. But, you know, because then it could be a grand mal seizure if it lasts too long, and there could be brain damage or muscle damage. But yeah, this guy that I was casually dating had 2 seizures at my house, and I had to spend the entire day with him at the hospital. So yeah, that is done, to say the least. That is over with. But
okay, but how hot was he?
He was hot, but his personality was not. I've decided we're better off not being in each other's orbits, I think.
And sometimes it's a decision you need to make.
Yeah, it's a decision I'm making and I'm standing firm on. But you know, that was just, now he lives to be a story. And hopefully takes better care of himself and does.
But it's reckless to not disclose that you're epileptic.
He disclosed it. I guess it's just, you know, there's no good time to have a seizure. So
you knew prior to the seizure that this was
No, I knew right as he was having the seizure, actually. I forgot. He looked at me and I guess he had an aura or something and said, "Oh, my epilepsy," and then started seizing. So I didn't really like have like that much time to prepare.
Yeah, like that's not cool.
It's not great. It's not great. Yeah.
Is that the weirdest thing that's happened to you on a date?
I think so. Yeah. That is the weirdest thing. How about you?
I'm trying to think.
Have you ever been on a blind date?
I've never been on a fully blind date, but I have been the date of somebody to an event that I didn't know like very well. Like I knew who they were via social media. And
was this like a fraternity crush party?
Yeah, it was.
It was. That's like the only circumstance that can exist in.
It was. And honestly, it was like pretty bad and like kind of dangerous. It was like one of those parties where you're like handcuffed until you finish like a handle.
Oh, yes. And similar to Edward 40 Hands.
Yeah. And I like didn't know this guy really that well. And I got really, 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 really drunk and like passed out in their bathroom. And like it was just kind of scary. Like it's one of those moments that like I was very lucky that I had friends there that could help me out in a situation that could have gone very badly.
Wow.
And that's just annoying that situations like that even exist and were made happen. Like, I don't understand why we had to be handcuffed and like drink that much alcohol.
Yeah. Hopefully that doesn't happen anymore. That's like I don't know what it's like. I don't know what college life is like. And I feel like it's been so long.
Yeah. And now I don't even drink. And I'm like, wow, I used to just like chug.
Yeah. Really nuts, actually, to think about. I was a date for a crush party once as well. And that was really fun. I felt like I had a different experience. It was kind of chill.
Yeah, like we didn't hook up. Like I was.
Oh
like,
yeah, that same as well. But it was just a fun party. I don't know. Greek life, interesting that we were both Greek.
Yeah.
Weird. Very, very weird. I don't know if it fits our personas anymore.
No.
Yeah.
But it was fine.
Do you guys think we're like sorority girls? Do we act like sorority girls? Do we like act like a sorority girls? Yeah, so speaking about being sober and not drinking anymore, what do you do now when you get invited to an event that's like open bar? Like I recently was invited to a party that was open bar and I just felt like a little stuck because I don't drink alcohol. And it's not like smoking weed is absolutely like socially acceptable at these open bar events that are like weddings usually and like, you know, sometimes like funerals or celebrations of life or, you know.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, first I try to avoid but I mostly just order like a ton of Diet Coke and then I will alternate between club soda and Diet Coke.
So your answer is to order a million Diet Cokes.
Yeah. And seltzers.
Fair.
The answer is not to get drunk. No.
Okay, so drink Diet Coke until you have diarrhea. Until the aspartame has infiltrated your body.
I don't think that's ever happened to me.
It's crazy how like you could be sensitive to like lactose, but you're not sensitive to Diet Coke.
Diet Coke is my lifeline.
Diet Coke gives me gastrointestinal issues.
I mean, maybe that's like the root problem of like most of my problems.
That's true.
But
it's scary.
I try, if it's an open bar, I try to not go. And not because I don't want to support my friends or whatever, but I try to explain to them, like, you're going to spend all this money for me and I'm just not going to fulfill it. Let's meet up a different time. Like, do your thing.
Yeah, it's like you have
get
the
drunk with
pressure
your
to like,
friends.
you also have the pressure to like financially make up for that. So you're like, oh, you invited me to an open bar event and I don't drink. I have to get you a gift worth more now.
Or I like the ones where there's like also food.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes, that's
and then I'll
nice.
order food.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like that.
But it's definitely the part I hate the most about these situations. And it's especially when I go back to New York. I feel like everybody is like in my friend group still like drinks quite a bit.
Really?
Is everybody's always like, wow, like why don't you drink? And I'm like, because it literally makes me feel like shit. Why do you drink?
It's like weird to have to explain why you don't drink anymore.
Like
it's like I thought we were all on the same page.
I thought we all didn't want to be hungover anymore.
It's like funny to hear people talk about like the choice to not drink as being like a generational thing too. Like, oh, the millennials like and Gen X, like they don't drink because they're just not into it. It's like, yeah, we're not. How did you guys do it? Like, where did you get your stomachs? Also, did you have as rigorous of a work schedule as we do? I feel, well, we already know we can't afford houses because of avocado toast. So like maybe we have to be more attentive at work because like us having our jobs and like being on for our corporate life is so important. And it used to be way more lax. Like think about Mad Men and how like Don Draper spent like 50% of this time fucking bitches. And the other 50% he was getting money.
Yeah, I was going to say like part of the reason why I also enjoy not drinking and not being in alcohol spaces is I don't want to be around drunk guys anymore who are doing like weird shit to us and always be like, oh my God, he was so drunk. That's why he was like touching me inappropriately. And I'm like, I don't want to go through that anymore. And I also don't even want to like have to fight in a way that I'm just like, fine, go get drunk. I would rather stay home.
Yeah, I get it too. It's so taxing emotionally. Like I always say, like I feel like when people are drinking in public, you can almost like see the demon behind them. It's like really scary.
They start like unleashing this side of their personality that I'm just like, why don't you just be more honest with yourself? Like I am 100% of who I am at all times.
Yeah.
And it might be weird and it might be whatever, but I don't need to like go get drunk to like let loose and like get my freak on or whatever.
Yeah.
And like hit on like 20 something girls who are clearly not interested.
Right. I see. So you feel like you're constantly letting your freak flag fly.
You don't think so?
No, I guess so. I'm
like, you spend a lot of time with me. I'm like pretty unapologetically all over the place.
Yeah, we're like Delulu.
Yeah, like
yeah.
This is my parents' favorite joke, but it's like if you were to look up neurotic in the dictionary, you would just see a photo of me.
Of you specifically, or of your whole family? Would it be a family portrait?
No, it'd just be me.
Really?
Oh, I'm the like definitely the more stressed out, all over the place one in the family.
Wow, I have to say that my whole family is like this. My whole family is neurotic.
Oh, my whole family is neurotic too. I just like have it less together.
Oh, I see. So you're more neurotic because
I'm constantly
you're less organized.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
But like my mom's a nutcase neurotic person, but she's just like also a queen.
Yeah, understood. I see. Yeah. Well. Do you think stoners need haircuts more than the average person?
I think smokers in general, like tobacco and joint smokers.
Why?
Because like, yeah, the smoke is just like drying. And then also like, I don't know if this happens to you, but like my friend, like everybody's always like, oh, your layers are so cute. Like they're not layers. I just like burnt it off using lighters.
Oh, so you have like bangs by force.
Yeah. And so I'm considering maybe getting shorter bangs.
Do you guys think she should get bangs? Y or N? Circle 1. I say yes. I always vote yes for bangs. But we are, well, I don't know. You live in Los Angeles. It's weird. Like the weather here, I guess most of the time is pretty mild and nice. So like you can not be sweating buckets. But in New York in the summer, like I'm not allowing myself to have bangs because it's so humid that like it's impossible to have styled hair. I just look like Miss Frizzle.
I know, me too. That's why. Well, this was like, it's less funny now, but when I was in high school, I would straighten my hair a lot, and so people didn't really know I was Jewish. But then if I like leave it naturally curly, you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, I also straighten my hair. It is frisé.
But I look like such a waspy bitch now.
Yeah, you do.
Like
you give Christian girl core sometimes.
Right. Like I totally could be Mormon.
You could be Mormon. You're Mormon passing.
I'm Mormon passing. And I also love soda and don't drink alcohol.
Yeah, you're Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints passing.
But I do love caffeine and other sins.
Oh, bad Mormon.
Heather
Gray. Heather Gay's new book, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. We need to get Heather Gay on the pod. Yeah. I think that you could be you're bad Mormon passing. Yeah,
but I don't like, and we talk about this frequently, but I feel like there's such a like I don't want to.
Natasha's algorithm serves her Christian girl core.
Yeah, and I just like I
don't touch that.
I'm very Jewish. Like I don't want to be in like religious stuff. Like why is this coming to me? And I think it's because I blow dry my blonde hair.
I think because your blonde TikTok prototypes you in with the Mormons.
Yeah, and I looked up a few tutorials of how to use my blow dry brush, and it was all these like perfect Mormon girls being like, me and my 20 kids do our hair like this.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids. Have you heard about, I don't know if you're on Homestead TikTok.
What's that mean?
Have you heard of Ballerina Farm? And we might have to beep out the name.
What is that?
It's some woman and her 20 kids who live on a homesteading farm, and everything they do is so aesthetic. It's such an aesthetic homestead vibe.
What does homestead mean?
Means they make their own bread to make a sandwich. Like they do everything from scratch. They will go milk a goat to make cheese for their sandwich that they're making homemade bread for. and will like make 700 fermentation projects at once. It's goals. I gotta say, it's goals.
That's goals for you? I don't want to ferment with my family.
I do. I need like a big Brooklyn, Staten Island, or Jersey backyard that I could have like a micro farm on. Like enough projects to keep me out in the garden. I want to grow my basil. I want to have maybe a citrus tree.
I don't.
I do like to grow and eat mushrooms. Like I've grown my lion's mane to make crab cakes. I've grown oysters. I've grown I like projects like that with my hands. But I don't want to have to.
What do you mean have to?
I don't want to have to like forage for a living. I like my cushy life.
Yeah, I don't want to be a farmer.
No. Anyway, the big scandal is that we find out that these people who are homesteading and their perfect aesthetic life with their beautiful children, they're like heirs to like a massive airline company.
Well, of course.
So they're like super wealthy, like modern day wealthy. And they're like, we're homesteading.
No, of course.
We're all natural.
All these people who are... Okay. This is a scam that people are not talking about. In order, and this is like industry secret. In order,
I'm all ears.
You know it too. In order for these like influencers, creators, channels to be doing this level of like consistent posting at this quality, at this like regularity, there's either somebody internally who has a video background.
Mm-hmm.
There's either somebody internally who has like content background.
Yep.
And there's definitely like thousands of dollars worth of equipment in that house.
Yes.
They are not shooting this on iPhone. This is like camera stuff, lighting, like,
and then all the time
props.
that it takes to like edit.
These are prepared
and post it. Like that alone is a full-time job. So like a lot of these people are not doing full-time jobs. They're just able to work on their content.
Like, that's the part about street style stuff. And like,
that's true.
A lot of content creators who are like posting themselves, what they don't show enough, and honestly, I have been victim of this as well, is like the photographer or videographer behind it. And they're not like alone at these restaurants, like having a meal. Yeah. There's a whole ass person there with lights, with sound, with mics, like, and
the GM is involved. Yeah, people know that they're coming. The meal is usually comped.
Okay, for example, these influencers who always are on top of like the trends really quickly, like they have a manager who's sending them prompts, ideas from TikTok and from Instagram.
Well, listen to this. You know, Selena Gomez said that she's not on social media and she hasn't been for over a year, yet somehow she's one of the most followed people on social media. So her team is actively sending her ideas and making her act things out and making her participate in trends. And she's not even participating back. Oh, it's a one-way street. I
used to help celebrities with their pages, and it was hilarious. Same. I would just send them, me and my like coworkers, like full outline, like look at the camera this way, and then look this way, and then we'll just use that clip, and then we'll make the trend. Like, it's absolutely absurd, and I think that's an illusion that needs to be shattered, and people need to stop trying to compare themselves, because your smaller content that's like from the heart and that's interesting is much more wholesome, and all of these things are fake aspirational stuff. And also, my newest conspiracy is that TikTok is promoting accounts and creators that follow like good Christian values.
More on that next episode. Thanks for joining. This is the Not For Nothing podcast. I'm Sarah ElSayed. You can follow me at How Can I Help You?
And I'm Natasha, and you can follow me at Natasha PRZ.
Follow the pod on Not For Nothing Pod across all platforms. And if you like this, please give us a 5-star rating. We'll owe you one. Thank you. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.